okay, we can't fight the cybersecurity because they're just too much and they're over the top. The criminals are too organized. They're making too much money, and they've got call centers, they've got multilingual translators. They don't even have to work weekends. They're that powerful in what they do. It's not quite true that we can't fight against cybersecurity, because we can, but we can only fight cybersecurity if you take it seriously. But it only takes one chink in that armor to start creating problems. And if we talk a bit further, we'll look at the work that the universities need to do amongst yourselves, with your government, and with organizations like us. So some stats. In 2015, if we talk about phishing, because phishing is a bit of a threat, 205 billion emails were sent every day. That's a lot of emails. 156 mails were phishing mails. 16 million of those will make it through the email gateways that you may have protecting your university. 8 million of your staff and students will click on those emails. 800,000 will click on a link that's provided in that. 80,000 users every day falls for a scam. And just to add to that, there's 3,000 phishing domain registrations websites created every day. So you can see there's quite a risk out there, because you're being bombarded. Not only are you being bombarded with phishing, but your staff, your university, your friends, they're also bombarding you with stuff. So you have to filter these threats out from the valid information that you're being sent as well. And that valid information you get sent, your university is probably guilty of sending it in all sorts of different formats. So it's not always the same every time you see it. So that makes it harder. But it also makes that easier for people who want to attack the university to start cloning those emails to pretend to be someone. In 2015, now we're looking at the Poppy Act for South Africa, but 2015, the largest data breach, which was in a retail organization, they stole 191 million identities of people. And that's credit cards, that's information, addresses, phone numbers, children, everything you need to know to become you if you've got something I want. 429 million identities were sold in that year alone. And that's just 9 mega breaches. But because of the fact that when, let's say, Kipu said, oh, we got hacked and we lost all this data, but it's not very good for our image. And because of that, sadly, there's been an increase. 85% of companies will not admit to what they've actually lost. So how can we fight things when people aren't telling us what's going on? How do we know our data's not been sold already? And the number of malware variants increased to 430 million in 2015. And these are people writing, these are professional people writing software to attack you. Kipu did a bit of research in South Africa, cybercrime. Currently, according to your own banking system, you're losing about 2.2 billion rand a year, and that's going to increase. An internet fraud system operating out of Pretoria, this was some people from Nigeria, actually, that were based in Pretoria, stole over 70 million rand from Lonely Hearts. They were creating little websites saying that they needed cash and people donating the money. 1 in every 214 emails sent in South Africa is a spear phishing email. Now, a spear phishing email is slightly different to what we call an ordinary phishing email. A phishing email is I decide I get 1,000 email addresses, I create an email and I spam the whole lot of you in the hope that one of you pick it up. A spear phishing email, I know something about you. I know something that I know you're a friend of yours, I know who you buy from, I know your bank, I personalize that phishing attack. That's a spear phishing because I'm targeting you directly. So that's quite risky. And there's a little known fact that only 28 countries in the world have a cybersecurity policy. South Africa is one of those countries. So you are thinking about cybersecurity. However, this is Professor Bassi von Solms. Apologize for my presentation. He's the director of the cybersecurity here at University of Johannesburg. And he thinks that whilst something is being done, there's not enough being done. And I think that's true the world over. It's not just South Africa. Same in England, same in every other country that's trying to tackle this particular problem. There needs to be more. Government needs to trust the ideas and the information you provide. They need to trust us. Political cybercrime. Again, in 2015, I'll use 2015 because there's a lot of stats for 2015. There was this hacking group Anonymous, which you probably have heard about, and they have these wonderful masks. They hacked 200 corporation and government websites last year purely to put their own political statement out there. And they got into these websites because people hadn't secured them properly. You know, we all a bit guilty again, those using the same password, not changing those passwords. Some people create websites and never change the admin password on the website. You know, if you find the operating system and the type of website, you can normally just get in it. So it's not that difficult for these guys, but they are pretty good to get into all systems. So South Africa, what's the views of South Africa? And ITNet and Norton Security did a survey, and it was this week, it was yesterday, that this came out on IT Web. 78% of South Africans understand the need to secure their information. They see it as a problem. However, 58% would rather cancel a dinner date than cancel their credit card if they knew it was compromised. The same percentage would rather endure a terrible date than go through the pain of calling their bank to resolve the situation. So I think my colleague Matt discussed as well, security is perceived as an inconvenience because either we're asking you to do something that causes you a problem if you've had an issue. And we know getting in and out of this university, you know, I'm having to turn my engine off to make sure I haven't stolen the car. It's, you know, it's different to get in, and it makes you get lazy in other ways. You know, this is Matt again inspecting a car. We stayed in this hotel and they had this car just sitting in the car park. But how many of you would drive this open top car with the roof down at night through Johannesburg? Well, so why do you do it in your cyberhood? Why don't you change your password? Why don't you make it different? And why don't you have different ones around? Because that's what you're doing. So you know not to do it in the car. You need to know not to do it online. So who are the cyber targets out there? What are these criminals after? Who are they trying to attack? Well, it's you. You are the target. You are the gateway. Even if you think, why me? I've got no information. I've got no money or whatever I've not got. Well, you may have access to someone they want. You may have access to a system they want. And it doesn't matter how little money you have or you think you have, they'll want that anyway. So you are that target. A typical corporation makes about 10% profit, annual return on investment. So whatever Kipu spends, we're lucky to get 10% back at the end of that year. If I'm a criminal using cyber attacks, I'm likely to get a return of 1,045%. And that's just me working on my own. You know, I could spend $2,000 and expect to get $200,000 back. And probably a jail sentence if I got caught. But so there is a risk. I'm not saying there's not a risk to any of this. However, an organized gang can expect a far higher reward. 99% of all phishing attacks are from organized crime because they know what they're doing. An international group of highly skilled cyber criminals infiltrated a load of banks fairly recently, and they stole over 1 billion around the world. And that's a lot. And the way they did that, phishing. They managed to send a virus into a bank. Once they got into that bank and a machine got compromised, that machine started looking for every other machine on that network, because once I've got in one of them, I can start searching your network for my real target, which is someone with an admin access into that bank system. Once I get access to that bank system, I can start to record screens, do keyloggers, get information, and inject even more software into that bank, which is pretty much what they did. And they managed to turn on bank machines, ATMs, to send out money at certain times of the day. They could go and collect. They transferred it to bank accounts. You know, the banks have got, whilst they're being attacked, they also need to be a bit more responsible with what they're doing and where they're sending all this money. But, you know, there's money out there, and that's why you are being attacked. Again, my colleague Matt discussed the threat of phishing and the need to awareness training. And so today, whilst I'm doing my keynote, I'm also going to do a little bit of training and to update you a little bit on what's happening out there and some simple things you can look out for. And if it's not just for yourself, it's to tell other people that you may be supporting the users, because you're the clever people that know about this stuff. There's an awful lot of people who just don't know. They're unaware. It's not that they're ignorant, it's just that they don't know what risks are out there. And you know that information, so you should share this information and give it out. So I have a little video, hopefully it'll play. No, it won't. It will play. It will play. I've just got to remember how to play it. Ah, you will play. Got it playing earlier. Come on. Oh, come on. Where you go? I got it playing earlier. Shocked. Right. Right.
This is Kipu's Fishing as a Service overview video.
Universities, because your education area, you have a lot of information and you provide that freely available. So if I'm a hacker, I can pretty much go to your IT web homepage and pick up loads of information about who normally sends emails about IT security,